All right, so I think it's live now. That was easier than I thought. Yes, we're live. Was it you, Ace, that clicked on the live streaming? Or was it my click? I guess Ace is not listening. Ace, can you hear me?
Hey man, am I audible?
So, was asking if it was you who clicked on stream live, or was it me?
It was you, not me.
Okay, because I tried and I didn't know if it was that it worked. What I did, it worked because it was so easy. That I was like, was it me or or maybe it was behind the scenes? All right. Let me send a message on the channel so that people know that we're on the meeting. And maybe we can wait not much more because it's a little late. Chat as well. All right. So how's it going, folks? I see I'm the only one in the video. What's going on? Is it I want is it a meeting or is it a talk? Looks like a talk, right? You expecting me to do a talk about design or what? Am I speaking alone?
Yeah.
I wish I could, but I'm not in a position to turn on my cam.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna join you soon. Brand, so I have to just connect all necessary equipment, and I will be joining you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, let's check.
So what's the agenda for today? We're going to discuss good things.
Sorry, say again, Abir. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I think what's the agenda for today? Like any specific topics that we are going to touch on?
Yeah, let me share the agenda with all of you. It's on the easel, but yeah, the agenda today is actually that we get to know, we discuss the missing things that we have, the pending things, let's say, that we have on design, about design. I'm actually surprised that you guys are joining. But yeah, I know Ace likes design, but I'm surprised that you like design as well. I didn't know. That's cool. So it's about design stuff. And the idea is that we review so the agenda is we review the current state. I'm going to share my screen. Yes. So the idea is that we review the current state of design at Asian KPI. So what's going on, what's been done, or and what we have right now, and also that what's missing, and define the set of needed tasks, and create the respective issues, of course, about it, and also to get to know who will be interested in contributing to design, because yeah, like there's not many people actually. Lately, there are a little bit more, but there's not many people in the community who likes design or who likes to do design, or who are designers, which will be even better, right? And yeah, so it would be great if we can create a community of designers as well. Oh, beautiful picture behind you, nice, love it. Speaking of design, so yeah, and then of course assign those issues to whoever wants to champion them, right? So yeah, the idea in general is to create to slowly start creating a design community at this KPI, because so far it's all development and technical writing, and I will say that's it. And yeah, so it will be great to have some designers, right, as well. Let's see. So Akshat will be joining in 5 minutes, he said. So yeah, we'll have one more person there. I'm missing Maya and Design Lava. So don't know if you guys know something about them, but it will be cool to have them as well. I can't hear you. You have to turn on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Let me see if I can reach Maya. I'm gonna ping her.
Okay. Sounds good. So in the meantime, you guys want to introduce yourself for those who don't know you. So I guess some of you are already known in the community, but some other people are not new in the community. So it would be great if you can introduce yourself and what you expect about this meeting and these meetings, I would say, because it shouldn't be the first one. It shouldn't be the only one. So who goes next? Who wants to introduce themselves? You all gonna do it. Oh, no way to escape it. It's like when you're in class and you can't escape it. Damn it, I need some light here because I look super dark. That's really bad. Okay, might be that much. That's okay. All right. Ace, you're next. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, hey everyone. I'm Ace. As you all know, design is my passion, just like Lukash. I suck at design. I suck at design, but I try to
You
do my
don't?
best. So I love design. That's why I'm here in this meeting. And to see if I can offer anything, maybe suggestion or ideas, or probably pick up some design issues. And I'm so glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone has to say or share. And I can see Akshat is here. Hey man. Okay, sorry for the delay.
Yeah, Akshat says that he has a lot of noise in the background, so he's going to be communicating on the chat. So yeah, that's fine. That's completely fine. Abir, maybe you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Abir. So this is my first design planning meeting. Usually, I thought that I'm most into technical things. So I just want to in this meeting, my main goal is to learn more about design from the colleagues here. So I get to understand what are the things going on in design, just to get an overview of it.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. Just to be clear, this is the first ever, maybe not, I'm not sure if it's first ever, but this is the first design planning meeting. So this is the first one we're doing, and I hope to run a little bit more until we have a consolidated design community, and then I can just forget about design, because I'm not a designer myself, and I was a designer in the past. but but I'm not a designer anymore, and I don't want to be
A
doing design
a
because I think,
tailwind designer.
yeah, no, much before Tailwind, much before Bootstrap, and so on. So yeah, so yeah, actually, before I was a professional developer. Um, so yeah, but I don't want to be back to design, because I think there are people who are more capable than myself. So yeah, and luckily or not, I have better things to do, or I have other things to do, not better things to do, but other things to do. So yeah. And so yeah, the idea is that we form a community here about design, and long term the idea is that we create, this it's an autonomous design community, so that these designers can take care of everything, everything design related, right? So yeah, and so Ayobami, hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Please introduce yourself. If not, sorry for that.
Yeah, good afternoon or good evening.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm Ayobam. You pronounce it correctly. It's Ayobam. Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Ayobami, and a UX UI designer. And I think this will be my first open source project. So I'm looking forward to contributing and making things, doing stuff, and just playing around and creating great product, and just putting my skills to use and see what goes. Yeah.
Nice.
Dude is nervous.
No worries.
This is my first kind of meeting though, but I'll get along with time. Yeah,
that is completely fine, man. No problem. Thank you. No problem.
Yeah.
That is completely fine. It's okay to be nervous. I'm still nervous after I don't know how many years already. So it's just that I learned to hide it. That's the thing.
I don't think so. You're doing well. I'm actually shaking you.
I'm good at hiding it, but that's it. It's still there.
Yeah,
So yeah. It's good that we have a designer in the call. You're like a
Absolutely.
unicorn here. So yeah, we're all developers, and it's like, please, is there someone out there that to design and that can wants to contribute to open source? That would be super cool. So yeah. I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to offend anyone. Maybe we have another designer, but that you are the only one that I know who's a designer. So yeah, and yeah, we're actually developers. Like actually, I'm saying we're actually developers inside the design meeting. It's true. That's the worst. That's probably the worst thing that can happen to design in the history. So yeah, I hope we don't take any bad decisions here. So Prithvi, I think I'm pronouncing correctly as well. Hopefully, you want to introduce yourself. So introducing in the chat. I'm Prithvi, and I'm super new to the open source community and wanted to learn more about how things work in general. My friend who works in async recommended me to attend and take part in the community event. Good for you, friend. You have a good friend. That's really cool. Perfect. So yes, I see. I'm saying design lover all the time, but that's not her name. What was the name? Hey, can you refresh me?
Sorry?
The name of design lover.
I think that's
Was it
a name.
no. Her name is Misturat. Yeah, Misturat is her name.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
Mr. Rat.
So,
Okay.
Misturat, yeah. So Misturat, I think she's about to join, but still don't see her here. So yeah. Anyway, so let me move forward and let's start accepting people as they join. So for those of you who don't know what the hell am I, what we're doing here, because we're doing many things, right? I feel you. It's a little bit tricky to get to know what we're doing here. So let me do a quick review of the current state of design at Async API. But to do the current state of design at Async API, I think I first have to explain a little bit what Async API is for those of you who don't know. So yeah. So I like to start from the website. So I think it's the best place to start, right? So Async API is a set of tools and a specification to define event-driven architectures. Blah 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 blah. Right? So it's lots of technical stuff that nobody, especially designers, don't want to know, right? So what it is in the end, without too many details and technicalities, what is it? So Async API is basically a developer tool. It's a tool for for developers to help them achieve what they want to do faster, right? And in a more consistent way. So in the end, it's a way for developers to work together in a faster and more consistent way, if you want. But it's not about any kind of development. It's not about it's not like VS Code or any tool like React that you might know, right? It's something specific, targeted at people who are doing usually microservices architectures, and communicating servers between each other, sensors, those who are doing Internet of Things, for instance. You probably have heard about people doing cool stuff with sensors and reading, automating homes and things like this, and I think things like this. But mainly, the thing is about, passing messages around, like sending messages from one system to another over the network usually, and that's what we do. So what we do is we improve the quality of the tools out there for that kind of messaging in between machines, if you want. Machines here being any kind of machine, a phone, a server, a sensor, whatever, right? So yeah. So that's it. What's the current state of if you have any questions, of course, just interrupt me. I'm happy to clarify things. So what is now that we know more or less what Async API is in terms of technicalities, I will also like to mention that Async API is a non-profit project, right? So we're not a company, even though sometimes we look like a company from the outside, because we have a logo, we have we maintain social networks, we have a cool website, or I think so. So we have everything like super professional, but we're not a company, and we don't have customers, and we don't sell any product. We do everything for free. We offer everything for free, and we do everything in public, like this meeting, right? We have every meeting, and every meeting we do it's in public, and anyone can join, right? Anyone can join and collaborate. Don't want to hide it. Some of us are getting paid to work on the project full time. So some of us are working at Cosman or other companies just to work full time on Async API. But the majority of the work, if you want, or the initiative happens actually, or is done actually by people who are not getting paid for it. We're just lucky people. Some of us are just lucky people who got to get a job that allows us to do this full time, right? So yeah. We run a bunch of community initiatives as well. So if you want to ask about these initiatives, ask Ace, because he knows much better than I, for sure. But we do mentorship program, for instance, Google Summer of Code, Google Seeds of Docs, Winter of Code, I think so. I'm not sure if it's still a thing or not. We run a bunch of programs where we try to invite contributors and select contributors so they are getting paid for that work, right? At least for a specific time frame, right? During 2 or 3 months or some, or during specific, or for a specific task, in exchange of implementing a specific task or GitHub issue, right? So we tried, but yeah, it's obviously not like a job, right? Like a full-time job. So yeah, so that is what we do at Async API. And my name is Fran. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the creator of Async API. I'm the executive director, blah, 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 at Async API. So this is just a title. And I work as director of engineering at Postman as well. But my work is full-time on Async API, right? So yeah, and as always, I'm here to help anyone who got questions about design or about anything Async API related. Actually, not anything. It doesn't have to be Async API related. If you want to reach out to me, I'm available on direct messages on Slack, and I'm happy to reply to any questions or give any advice if I can. So yeah, I will not trust my advices. That's it. I just said. So yeah. What else? So that's pretty much not Ace. I think as a quick overview of Async API. What do you think? Do you think it's a good overview, or is there anything that I'm leaving out? Maybe.
No, that's pretty cool. I think you have a question on the chat.
Oh yeah. So pretty. So well, so this meeting is about design. It's not about coding, right? So my suggestion is, I mean, I'm happy. I'm gonna reply, of course. I'm not gonna be that stupid that I don't reply questions here. But just so you know, so this meeting is about designers and design tasks. But the type of coding languages that one needs to learn or to know, I would say anyone, but mostly is Node.js, is JavaScript, TypeScript in Node.js. But there are many projects across the board touching all languages. For instance, Modelina is touching all the languages, as an example. So yeah. But yeah, and I think next week, so Tuesday next week, there's a next community meeting, which I think actually it's here. I don't have to go anywhere else. So if you go on the website community and meetings, you will see them there. I hope. No, it's not there. We need to check that because I think it's a schedule, right? Ace. I think the meeting is scheduled. This is weird. So yeah, and if not, you can always go to the calendar, and you will see that you see design planning meeting, but there's this spec meeting and this community meeting next week, right? So these community meetings are actually one of the best places to ask anything related to Async API, right? But don't wait for the meeting. Go to the How to Contribute channel on Slack and mention Ace. Make sure that he works. He has something to do, and he will be able to help you, I'm sure. So yeah. And that's it. So we have Maya and Mr. Ed on the meeting. Yay! So I think we're all here. So Mr. Ed and Maya, maybe you didn't know because you joined late, but we were introducing all of us. So maybe you want to introduce yourself and yeah, and what you expect about this meeting. Who wants first? Who wants to go first? All right. since there are no one taking the lead here. Maya, can you introduce yourself? You're the first on my list. Yes, chat, please introduce yourself in the chat. You gotta practice and see how can you improve your introduction. The more you do it, the more you realize that you suck at it. That's what happens to me. The more I introduce myself, the worse I do it. So
What is going on in this chat?
yeah, I'm not looking at the chat because it's completely derailed, right? All right,
What?
so Mr. Rat, maybe you want to introduce yourself, if you can. Oh, we lost her.
So I'm not sure these guys can hear us, or maybe they're having trouble with internet.
Yeah, okay, that's okay. All right, so for the next one, maybe. So we have a couple of projects. Oh yeah, Maya, if you can, please introduce yourself. If not, that's completely fine. You can do it in the chat as well. So we have a couple, let's say, or a few projects on async API that might require a little bit, to say it in some way. It might require some design love, right? So the website is pretty good. I'd say it's starting to get a lot of stuff, but that's something that's still doing good so far. So not a problem. But yeah, we have projects like Studio, right? So Studio, it's still doing pretty good, right? But yeah, this is designed by a developer, right? For developers in general. So it's not that bad. It looks a lot like VS Code, but Studio needs to evolve in the next months and years to something that is more, let's say, usable by non-developers, right? So right now it's like a code editor, right? I'm gonna make the a little bit larger. And as you can see, this is pretty much an editor, and on the right side you see the generated documentation. This is what we call the generated documentation, right? But I hope you don't hear my daughter crying and screaming. She's screaming hard. So the thing here is that there is this UI, which is pretty good so far, but we need to evolve Studio into a product that is more user-friendly and not necessarily developer-friendly. That doesn't mean that we have to make it hard for developers, right? I'm not meaning that, but something that anyone can use. And ideally, in the future, in the next months, right? Ideally, we want to see an evolution of the async API Studio, in which we see a product, right? An application that that helps anyone, not just developers, to create event-driven architectures or synchronous API. That's it. You shouldn't need to be a developer. So that means that you shouldn't need to actually learn async API. So ideally, there should be a way, a UI that helps you create APIs or EDAs, even within architectures, EDAs, you'll hear me a lot say that. And APIs, application programming interfaces, where you don't need any of this knowledge here. You don't need to know how to write this, because for those of us who know how to write this SNCPA file, this is easy. You just type it, and on top of that, you have help here, like you have autocomplete. I think there's no, not this one. Well, I don't remember the key combination, but you have suggestion here on how to write this SNCPA file. What just happened is actually another thing to improve, that I don't recall how to have auto-completion. So that is a good, not UI, but UX improvement, right? So we need to improve the development experience or the user experience here, right? And but ideally, what we need to achieve long term is that we have something like this. We don't see any code, we just see the documentation here. And maybe we see another window here in the middle in replacement of this one with the code, where you can easily drag and drop stuff like, I want to create an API that's connected to this broker, blah, 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 right? So everything needs to be super user-friendly if you want. I'm not entering into too many details of how things should be done, because that's not the purpose of this meeting. I just want you to understand more or less that there's a lot to do here, and it's not so much about what you see, but it's more about what it should be in the next month, or what it should be evolving to, right? So this is one of the things. The other thing is precisely, and some people think it's part of Studio, but it's not. It's what you see here on the right side, right? So what you see on the right side is it's another tool, right? It's a tool embedded inside Studio, but that can be also used outside Studio, right? So this is the generated documentation, as we call it. And what's happening here is that what you see on the left is generating the documentation on the right. So as an example, if I change the title of the API, you see that it changes, right? So if I touch it, you'll see whatever, right? So whatever I type on the left, it's reflecting on the right. So it's because it's using the code to generate this documentation. But as I said, this can be used outside Studio, and it can even be generated without using Studio at all, right? So with other tools that I'm not gonna talk about now, but the design of this generated documentation is, needs some refinement, because right now, as it is, it's a little bit ugly and can become actually unusable, right? So as an example, I'm gonna do an example here that is so main channel 1 message payload IDs and that. Why is it not rendering correctly? Interesting. Is it? Maybe it is. Interesting to see. So payload. Oh, of course. Interesting. It wasn't complaining that there was an error here. Something to look at. So, so you can see that what I typed here, ID is an integer, minimum values would be 1, and the description with ID of the channel, then you have sent out, blah, 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 you know, all the details should be reflected on the right side like this. That's done, that's cool. And so far, it doesn't look that bad, right? But the problem is when we start getting so let's say, starting to get complex combinations of this. So for instance, if I try to do things like this, this is another syntax. If I, and if I just do a type object here, properties, blah, type string. All right. Yeah, so all of a sudden this UI becomes really weird, right? So what it's saying here is that my message should contain all the fields here and all the fields here. It should be like a combination. It's actually, it's not exactly saying that, but yeah, we'll get into details once we get into this specific issue, right? And as you can see, it says when you expand payload, it says consist of, which by the way, it's incorrect English. IDs and add and then it's a and with, which is off with, like it's a little bit weird, but and then blah, right? What many people are expecting here is that it's actually rendered like this. All right. So I think that's enough. What the hell is that? Okay, indentation is always. Yeah, what many people are expecting is this, that you actually merge all the stuff together into a single place. But yeah, there are details, let's say, interesting reasons why this is not done, and we need to investigate why it's like this and how it can be done. Sorry, we need to investigate how to do it in another way so that people can actually find what they expect, right? And well, not gonna get into too many details here. So there are two projects here, which is Studio in general, this shell of this application, right? Not this part here. So there are a bunch of things to do here. We have some UI related to how to use Studio, right? All the stuff, which is cool, but can be improved. Then we have the generated documentation here, which again, it's good enough, but needs to be improved by a lot. And then there is another, there's yet another project which never started yet, but it's called design system, right? So we have it on GitHub. I think there's no, as far as I know, there's no work that happened yet on this repo, and yeah, there's something that we should be doing, I think, as soon as possible. And the reason is that so far, when someone wants to close here, so when someone wants to do something on this UI here, right, on the Studio UI, there's no design system and there's no UI kit, if you want, like a library of components. So that part is still missing, right? And so it will be cool that we create this kind of library of components that people can reuse, like Ace was saying before, right? Like Tailwind or something like that, but not really Tailwind. Maybe it will be more like Tailwind UI, so that you have a set of ready-to-use components, so that any contributor who wants to add something to this UI, they already know where to look at, and they can find the components already done, already designed, and already coded, right? And ready to use, right? Ready to incorporate into the UI. if the component is not there, of course we add it to the design system, or to the UI kit, sorry. But the UI kit, it's actually the second step. The first step will be to come up with a design system, right? So the design system is the rules by which our design will be, how can I say, like, it's the rules that our design system will be following, right? So for instance, if you look at the Google design system, which I think it was paper, it was called paper, material design or something like that. Yeah, it was material design, of course. Paper was the UI kit. So yeah, it's basically this. It explains how to use the fonts, how to use the spacing, the borders, the shadows, everything, like how to use the color, what colors to use, what colors to avoid for specific things, the types, even the spacing, so the padding, the margins, the space between things in the screen, how it should be separated, how much, and if all the little details, right? All the little details about the design itself. And this will be then translated to a UI kit, and then the UI kit will be used to build Studio, right? But again, that's like that's another part of the project. Then there was this discussion that never ended, actually never finished, and it was abandoned, that if we should have a design system for the generated documentation as well, which personally I don't think so, because it's a limited set of components, so we can just design this component, and they should be customizable, so people can include this generated documentation into their websites. And if my company has red as primary color, then I should be able to customize it so the title is red, and it should be customizable so the font is the same as the one that my company uses. So it will be customizable, right? So yeah, we should have some design work there, but we shouldn't get crazy about it. And but Studio is actually something that will grow, and that contributors will come to add more functionality and more stuff and more menu options and more modals and buttons here and there and so on. And there should be a consistency, right? Otherwise, every time someone adds a button here or maybe here, it's a different thing. Or every time we create a new model, it follows a different look and feel, right? So yeah, and that's it. So basically, what we have is Studio, we have the generated documentation, and we have the design system that we still don't have, actually, that we have to yet create, right? So let me get back to the chat. All right, so let me read the interaction from Akshat. So this is full stack developer maintaining of the website. The website, the Thinkipic website you saw. I'm also the mentee in the mentorship program and also looking for more opportunities in the community. Pretty well known in the community, Akshat. So yeah, but yeah, some people might not know him, of course. And Maya, so Maya has been around for a while as well now. So Maya said, hi everyone, my name is Maya and an open source user experience researcher and designer at Thinkipic. I'm also a mentee in the mentorship program, and nice to connect with you all. Cool, so welcome Maya. We definitely need you around. Pretty is asking if Studio is something similar to VS Code. It is, but it shouldn't. That's the thing. So the thing about it is that why will I use this editor if I have my VS Code, right? Or if I have my IntelliJ IDEA that I'm familiar with, and that I have my what do you call the key? What's the key combinations? I don't know. Anyway, so I have configure, I have my plugins there, I have everything there, right? So why will I use this this editor, right? For instance, I don't use it. Whenever I have to edit an SMTP file, I use this VS Code preview SMKPI, I think SMKPI preview was, yeah, of course. So this was, yeah. So there's this station that we have for Studio, for VS Code, right? That is actually doing the same thing, right? But inside VS Code. So I have VS Code configured in a way that that I have all my snippets, that I have all my, you know, this you know, all these key bindings, so the key combinations that I use for this or that, right? So yeah, I would prefer to use this one, right? For quick stuff. But that said, that is what Studio is right now, and that's why I was saying, like, this is what Studio is, but this is not what Studio should be, right? In the future. I'm not saying that we're gonna remove this editor here. We're gonna keep it, right? Because it's still useful for some, you know, from time to time. You just want to change things quickly here and there, and that's cool. So we're gonna leave it there. But the thing is that once you open Studio, the first thing you see doesn't have to be this editor, right? You don't want to have the editor and the documentation here. The first thing that you should see is, hey, friend, what do you want to do? You want to create a new Kafka microservice? Cool, let's guide you through creating a Kafka microservice. So let me know, where is your Kafka broker? And I type the URL, right? So, okay, so now I know where your Kafka broker is. Do you want me to publish messages to some topics in the Kafka broker? Cool, let me know which ones. And you want to subscribe to some topics in the Kafka broker? Cool, let me know which ones. And then for each of the publish and subscribe, let me know which kind of message are you expecting in this topic? What is the structure? Is it an object? Is it a JSON object? Is it does it have the ID property? Does it have a sent out property? Cool, let me know. Is it a string? Is it a number? Blah, blah, blah. Let me configure it, right? So you do this all via UI, right? And what it's doing actually behind the scenes, it's generating this XMPP file, right? This is generating the XMPP file behind the scenes, which you can always switch to the code editor version, this version, right? This UI, and you will see it, right? So that will be that will not be hidden. That will be another option, right? But not the default option. So that's the thing. So it will be more like a user-friendly UI for people to create new APIs and new microservices and, you know, things like this, right? So I'm sorry that I'm using a lot of jargon here, but I'm trying to keep it simple as much as possible. If you get lost at some point of what I'm saying, just let me know privately if you want, or in chat, and I'll be happy to reply. And yeah, and so the idea is that we guide the user also in their own language, and I'm not in their own language. I don't mean in Spanish, in English, in, you know, in Hindi. I'm not saying that, right? So what I'm saying is that if you're using Kafka, in Kafka, the channels are called topics, not channels, right? So if I'm new to SMKPI, I should know that this is actually the same as in Kafka topics, right? So so that's one more friction point that I have to learn, right? This is it. This is a Kafka topic. So Also, in the case of, I don't know, in the case of servers, right? I can just have my Kafka here, and the URL will be Kafka at my Kafka, right? Something like this, right? So I can add a server. So that is the same as saying that my Kafka broker is using, so my server, my broker is of type Kafka, and this is a URL where you can find it. Cool. But it says servers. For some people, servers mean something different, right? For many people, actually. So if I'm new to async API, I probably don't know that I should come here and add my Kafka broker listed here, right? So that is yet more friction, right? Not to mention that I'm using YAML, and probably I'm not even familiar with YAML. So that's still more friction, right? The name of the channels might be that I have to keep it like this, or maybe like this, right? I don't know. Thing is that there are lots of things that I have to do, lots of things that I have to learn, that I should put summary here for the description, but I should put description here, and I don't have summary in this case. There are lots of things that you need to know in order to write this API document, and that I think it shouldn't be necessary to start using async API. Like, we shouldn't be a little bit less egocentric, right? And tell people, like, you want to create an asynchronous APIs or even architecture, cool, I'm gonna guide you. I'm not gonna ask you to learn async API, I don't care, right? I don't care. You shouldn't be learning how to write this file. It's not your business. If you want to, that's cool, fine. Go ahead and learn it. And here are the docs, and here are the guides and tutorials and everything. You have all the stuff here, right? I think, yeah. So on asyncAPI.com/docs, you have all the tutorials and, and guides and concepts and reference and everything. You have everything here. So that's really cool. If you want to learn how to use specific tool, you also have it covered. It's there. That's perfect. I love it. But that shouldn't be the default, right? The default should be, you want to use async API, you want to actually create an asynchronous API, or you want to create an event-driven architecture or whatever. I'm not going to ask you to learn async API because that's way too much, right? And you might need a few weeks until you learn it, right? Until you're actually proficient in it. That's too much, right? If it was something like you can learn in 5 minutes, okay, that's cool. I'm going to ask you to learn it because it's just 5 minutes, right? But it's a few weeks, right? In the best case, right? So yeah. So ideally, this UI should guide you into creating something like this, but it's actually that guiding you, right? That's the thing, not asking you to type it. So yeah. What else out here? So yeah. And anything else that you might want to ask? Oh, by the way, hello, Mr. Rat. So she's introducing herself and said, hello, I'm Mr. Rata Kimbani, design lover, that UI UX designer, and soon to be project manager. It's really nice to be here. It's really nice to have you here as well. By the way, you can talk at any time. This is not meant to be owned by me, right? So this is a meeting, we can all talk, right? Let's just have a conversation here. So yeah, you were so Prithvi was asking there. Sorry. he was asking there that, oh man, sorry. If this is like a questionnaire or something like that, we should be having here a questionnaire or something like that that you should fill to create the API. Well, that's one way, right? That's one way. But what I mean is not so much about a questionnaire, but there are other examples of how other people are doing it. And a cool example is Stoplight, right? So Stoplight has what is it? It has a tool. Actually, this one, yeah. Yeah, so they have this tool here where you can fill all these details, but in a nice UI, right? So you have this detail here that I'm not sure. Okay. So say for instance, this one, you have this this UI here, and it's like you can paste the URL here, and it lets you select which kind of operation is it. In this case, it's for REST API, so it's different, right? We're not doing REST APIs, at least so far. So yeah, you can fulfill all the information here, clicking buttons here and there, without having to type any of this long form async API files, or in this case, without having to type any of this long form open API files. This is just targeting another spec. So this is a cool example, right? A cool example of how you can build a UI that is actually gonna ask you, so the UI is gonna ask you to fill some data, right? And it's the necessary data for you, for the application actually to generate the async API file behind the scene, right? That's the whole idea.
I think it is also similar to so there's this project one of the current mentees is working on, right? It's like the studio drag and drop. So it should be similar to that.
Yeah. So another one, like the one you mentioned, for instance, to have something like a panel here on the left side that you can drag and drop blocks into a playground, maybe something like this. Something like this, but something that you will be able to actually create new blocks. This one is just for visualizing. You cannot edit it. You can just see it. You cannot edit anything here, right? So the idea is that you should be able to drop here things and connect things together, more like a diagramming tool, right? And then if you click here, you will see a form asking you to fill some details like the name of the channel or the messages that you expect in this channel, blah, 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 right? All the necessary information. There are lots of things that we can add there. So that is another way. Another way of seeing it is the way Postman is doing it. So for instance, well, I'm not going to say name now, but yeah. But another way to do it is Postman takes another approach, which is let me help you test. It's not to create an asynchronous API, is to test it. It's to test an existing one. But actually, what you can do, you can fill all the details here needed to create, needed to test your API, and then you can just tell Postman to mock it, to create a mock, which is like a dummy version of your API, right? Which is like something that you can test, but it actually does nothing. It just responds with some dummy data, but it's already enough for you to use, right? And to play with. So that is another approach. There are different approaches. There's a chatbot approach where you ask a question. The chatbot asks you a question, and then you reply with something. But that requires more typing, and it's always like it's always good. Maybe I would say it's good for when you're creating an async API in the beginning and the Symfony API in the beginning. But then if you want to edit it, the experience is a little bit brutal because you don't know what to do now. Like the chatbot will not be asking you, right? So it's there are different approaches to solve that, of course. So and I think what we should be aiming for, as I said, maybe it's kind of drag and drop blocks that you can place here and connect things together. So because at the same time that you're creating, you're seeing things in context, right? You see the things in the diagram. So that is really cool. It's easy to visualize that. And if you want to fill more details that are not shown here, you can click and it will open a menu, a form, right? A window with a form, and there you can complete it, or it will open a sidebar or something where you can continue completing the details and so on, right? So yeah. Anyway, this is specifics, right, of how to solve it. But this is not meant to be. So this meeting is not for that. This meeting was just to explain that we have this studio thing, right, and we have this generated documentation thing, and that we have this design system that is still pending, that's still missing, right? And the idea is that we create a UI key or a design system so that we make this whole design consistent and nice looking at the same time. And because so far it's good, but it has to evolve into something that is going to be a little bit more complicated UI wise and UX wise, right? So especially about UX wise. So the UI is going to be easy to do, because we can follow what other people do, but the UX, so the experience, that like defining what we want the experience to be, and how the application should react to your needs and adapt to your needs, that's actually going to be a tricky thing. So, and there is what I think there's rely most of the design opportunities. So, and we're over time as usual.
Yeah, but I still have like a couple of things to add, right? Which includes questions. So I'm gonna add to the list of design stuff we would love to work on, and I think one of them is actually the SKPI conference, right? Like previously, the past conference, which is the 2022 conference, we had some design done by Missy, which were awesome. And so we want something also like that for this year, right? And the title for this year is SKPI on tour. So I feel it would also be an interesting design issue for any designer in the community to work on, right? So before we can start implementation, if we say someone who can volunteer, to come up with the whole design for the conference, I think that would go a very long way.
Yeah, I agree. Although I would
say,
just to mention it, like the design of specific website, it might make it appealing to some people, but just want to mention that. This will be, this will be just a one-shot job, right? Like someone just can do it, and we have a website, and it will be used for the conference, and that's really cool. I mean, not the conference, because it's going to be for the whole year on tour, right? But like you're right. So, but in my opinion, I think it's more like this. In this case, it's more about graphic design, if you want, than UI UX design. But it's still design. But just want to make this differentiation there. For instance, I'm not bad at UI UX. I'm not bad, but I suck at graphic design, for instance. In this person, just as an example, right? So this to tell people what to expect at first. And I think someone raised their hand. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was Maya.
Maya, okay.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, can you go on?
Yeah, I wanted to volunteer for the graphics, but I didn't get what you said, like the last thing you mentioned. about UX designer and graphic designer.
Back to you, Frank.
Can you ask again, because I didn't understand the whole question, or maybe Ace, if you did understand everything.
Okay, so Maya, if I'm correct, right? So I suggested, right, the 2023 conference, we want someone that can, help us come up with designs, right? From designing the website, just like the one Missy did for the past 2022 conference. Missy did some of these designs for the website, and she also did these architecture illustrations that we also use in the website and also on the SNKPI swag, right? So, and I was thinking, since this the title for this coming conference is SNKPI on tour, right? So we're thinking, okay, somebody has to, like, if we can find any designer in the community that is interested in like picking up these design stuff for 2023, then the person should just volunteer, and we'll be looking forward to like implement the design.
Okay, yeah, I would love to work on it.
Cool. I'm gonna. So, do you understand, Fran?
No, I don't have anything. I think you said everything. That's good. I'm sorry, I didn't understand the whole question, Maya. So I'm sorry for that.
So I'm gonna share the link to the current conference website. So this is not just just for designers. So if you're a developer, also if you're interested in implementing whatever design any designer comes up with other, so we are always like willing to like make a contribution. Oh, sorry, I also shared. So that's the link. Yeah, you were first. That's a link to the conference website, the past one. So we are also looking forward to the coming one also. So I'm also gonna create a discussion. So Maya, I'm gonna ping you. So maybe we can start thinking and brainstorming.
Okay.
So, and also that we also have some design issues, right? So we have some of these design issues. I think Akshat can testify. Akshat's current projects in the mentorship program, I think it's a very, very interesting project that we feel needs, if you can find someone to help redesign his project, I think that would make so much sense. Akshat, can you share the link to your projects? So I can show them.
Yeah, sure. Just a second.
Okay. So we have a lot of design issues, like some which Fran has already pointed out. So I think this would be a great opportunity to like bring on board more designers. And I think it's very, very difficult to find designers in open source. I don't know why. I've always tried to figure out why. Can you share the link, Fran?
Which one?
Akshat, just share the link on the chat.
Okay. You want me to copy it on the?
Yeah.
Okay. Open it here. I mean.
Yeah. So this is Akshat project for the mentorship program, and you can see the design is pretty basic. So if you're a designer, if you would love to like pick up a challenge to help us now enhance this design and give us something much more fun and interesting, Akshat would be really, really glad. And I think Mr. Rat, you raised your hand.
Yes, I actually messaged him on this, but he did not fill me in about it because I really wanted to help him with the design.
Oh, Akshat?
Yeah, Miss, sorry, Miss, what did you get? Didn't you get that in this particular page? Sorry, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, so just in a case means like what you didn't get in the means that the problem exists that it doesn't have any specified Figma file for this particular web page. But yeah, soon with my imagination, I somehow able to design a page means like which will be effectively rendering all the tools which are actually previously listed in the asyncpay.com/docs/tools. So like that's my mentorship program project that I have to migrate this particular page into a tools dashboard where user can interact with the like interact with the page in such a way that it should be get filtered out, or it particularly can sort the uh, tools that exist or that helps the async API to grow as such. So yeah, this is the page. Yeah, this is the overview
Yeah.
one. Perfectly. So yeah, if you list down there and deep down into the page, you will see that there are a list of tools which are being just listed out in the form of a markdown or in a type of table. Instead of that, now we do need an interactive way of finding some tools of async API. Like more of the features will be coming out as soon as all my PRs or latest issues will be summed up of making new filters regarding it. So as per the design perspective, I actually want to have a review that it perfectly aligns with all the UI UX terms that are being made for the community, or
Sorry, Akshat.
is much more that's what I asked about it. Sorry,
Okay,
sorry,
cool.
sorry, I got disconnected before.
Yes, you were saying something about the design matching the existing community stuff.
Okay, yeah, means like what Missy told me previously, that we had dedicated themes and particular style of coloring and having font styles in the Async API brand and even in the Async API website Figma file. So linking with that, I was actually wondering that if somehow some designer or any design contributor can review the PR according to that UI UX, that will be much better. That's why I asked for the reviews in the design channel.
Cool. So I think Mr. Rat, you should definitely connect with Akshat if you are actually interested in that. I think Akshat would provide so much help for you. So I'm pretty sorry Akshat didn't get back to
Okay.
you. He's a busy man.
No problem.
And just I have good news actually. So I just added your dashboard to the website. So it's there.
That's fake.
While you were
So,
speaking, I
actually-
just added it. It's cool. It's perfect. It's there. What do you
Okay,
need?
Just refresh.
Just refresh, exactly.
So yeah, it was actually a very good one that we had a dashboard even inside the talks.
Just don't let me refresh, exactly. Cool.
Yes, so that's the another example of design issue. So if you're willing to pick that up also. I think that's everything I have to say. And if I'm supposed to add one more thing, I think that's the question, right? So a question keeps bothering me, and which is, so I think one of the main reasons I feel there are less designers in these open source space, which the first part is eventually the technical aspect, which I don't feel is a big deal if you find somebody to onboard them. And I think the second aspect is basically a designer, designing something, and a design contributor designing something, and a developer contributor trying to implement that design, right? So if the developer didn't implement the design as cool as the designer designed it, I think that's going to be a problem. And I think it is open source, right? So the designer can't just keep nagging at the developer, but I didn't do what I designed like efficiently or something. And the developer can say, dude, I'm not being paid to do this thing. It's open source, right? So don't stop nagging me and stuff like that. And I was thinking, right? So how do we feel? How do you feel you can bridge that gap to make like more designer come to open source? And yeah, we can, I think it's also something I'm willing to like dedicate my time on, like try to bring more designers into open source. I'm starting with this KPI first. So I don't know. I am Mr. Rat, you have something to say?
Yes. The awareness is not there actually. The awareness is not there. I initially thought async KPI, it's only developers that can contribute, but thank God for my sister. She said designers can also contribute to async KPI. That was why I'm here. If not for her, I won't be here. So I feel the awareness is not there. If there is more awareness about it, I'm so sure designers will come to contribute to async KPI.
Cool. So a way to promote that, right, Fran? Sorry. A way to promote that is thinking. I'm thinking, right? I'm not making a decision. I'm just thinking maybe we can also have in the Thinking by Mentorship program, right? If you can have more slots for designers also.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that would be super cool. Actually, I will be up for it. Like, even to become the mentor of someone who wants to pick up a design, one of the design issues, one of the, I would say, the big design issues. But yeah, like, I'm not sure if, well, yeah, it's viable. So yeah, and yeah, I will be the mentor, but yeah, I don't know if people should be expecting from me to mentor them on design, because I'm not a designer myself. But definitely this is something that we can use to pay them to, to implement something, right? To get some pet contributions to design. That would be super cool. Absolutely. And I would be super happy to guide the designer into what we need, let's say, not exactly how to do the design, but into what we need. So yeah, I'm all for it, for sure.
Cool. So I think that's pretty everything from my hand.
And also about your question before, like, how do we solve these problems that designer might design something and then the developer doesn't fully do the design that was designed by the designer.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, that's why we have code owners, right? Maintainers on each repo, right? So, for instance, if we have someone joining here on the design system, at some point the design system will create a UI kit, right? So if someone on Studio, if someone comes to if someone comes to implement something on Studio and it's not using any of these components of the UI kit of the design system, and it's there, and the component is there to be ready to use, it's up to the Studio maintainers to say, no, please use the one on the design system, right? Don't create one more component yourself, right? So you should be using the one there, right? So it's up to the maintainers to also respect design the same way we respect documentation and the same way we respect code, right? So yeah. So if and actually I'm one of the maintainers of Studio. If I see someone, if we had a UI kit with lots of components ready to be used, and I don't know, something like a button here, a button of the sidebar, and someone is adding one new button and it's not using this component, it's using something made by themselves, I will stop them. I will say, like, no, please use the other one, right? Don't use a component done by yourself or a design done by yourself. So yeah, and the other maintainer, who is Matek, I'm sure he will also stop the person contributing this. Not stop, but guide them, right, into doing it properly. So it's up to the maintainers in the end. Of course, this is a job that you're doing on your spare time for free. So we can't ask the developer to say to do it exactly the way it should be done. But dude, this is this is open source, right? It's true that you're doing it for free, but it's also true that you're getting it for free, right? So it's a collaboration, right? We offer everything for free and everything in the open, but in exchange, people is able to contribute to the project and to change the direction of the project, right? So yeah, it's a quid pro quo, right? I would say. So yeah, this can always happen, but I'm pretty sure that this is not going to happen. And if this happens, some other developer can jump in and say, "I'll finish the rest that this developer doesn't want to do. I'll fix it. I'll make it look exactly like the design."
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, so that is not a problem. I hope that clarifies the question and the problem. So,
yeah, it does.
Anyway, folks, so I hope this first design meeting was useful to understand a little bit what the biggest design issues are at Async API, and also the little things that you might find here and there, like the project from Akshat, like the website for the next conference and so on. This year's conference actually. So these little things are also useful and probably a good way to start before you get into the big thing, right? And but yeah, and on subsequent design meetings, I'll try to. I think we can try to get into a specific thing like design system, the UI kit or the studio, the render documentation, the generated documentation, specific things, and we can start onboarding whoever wants to be participating into this specific design issue. Right? So yeah.
So are you saying you're going to be hosting these design meetings more frequently?
That's one of the first things that I said. That's the first design meeting because my aim is to create a design community at Async API. And until we have, and I said before, like, I'm not a designer myself, but I know that the designers in our community are also probably not engaged enough into the project to say like, I'm going to take care of this big thing, right? Because that's too much, and that's I agree, that's too much, and it's probably it's basically it's a too big, it's a task that is too big to understand by itself, not just do, but to understand it. So my aim is that I'm gonna run these meetings and also help designers who want to contribute to understand what needs to be done, and ideally in the future I can just step away, right? And I don't have to do anything of this because there are lots of designers in the community who are actually taking care of this much better than myself, and they're much more capable than me. And so that's the idea, right? But the ideal can be probably next year. Maybe, I mean, it all depends on how fast it happens, of course. But yeah, that's my aim. So if we have to run this meeting for, I don't know, every 2 weeks or something like that, I'm all for it. I'm happy to do it. And I'm happy to guide you outside the meeting as well on the design channel or in private messages if you are shy to share on the design channel as well. I'm happy to guide every one of you who wants to contribute. Happy to do it.
Cool. I'm also, let me say, we are also looking forward to seeing more meetings like this.
You were also looking forward for that?
Yeah, of course.
I'm also looking forward for you joining this meeting. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Maya tried saying something.
Yeah, I heard some voice, but
No.
Okay. Anyway, so I think that's a wrap. See you in the next meeting. I'll post it on the design channel, and I'll keep you up to date there. on our Slack, right? So that we can have more of these discussions regularly, and we can come up with a design committee and KPI. So cool. Bye, folks.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Ending. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Ciao.
Bye.